everybody. It is looks like 5 o'clock, and so we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Nicole. I am the Community Outreach Manager with Minnesota. So thank you all for joining us tonight. With me, I have Rick, is with our IT department, and he is going to be the one that is going to do this presentation for us tonight, kind of walk us through some of the ins and outs of things that we can do to, one, watch for ID theft, watch for those scams, and then if by chance we have been scammed, we can kind of talk about things that you can do after the fact as well. So a couple of things. We're going to have a question and answer session towards the end. If you feel that you have any questions, you're welcome to use the chat function. And then I will go ahead at the end, start asking those questions of Rick, and we'll get things kicked off. So Rick, if you want to take it away, we would greatly appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Nicole. All right, so I usually do this presentation in classrooms for a lot of high schoolers, so I'm trying to adapt it for an online situation here. So bear with me. First off, we're going to get to some statistics. So I'm sure a lot of you have been a victim of a car crash. You're more than likely again, this is where I would usually have people raise their hands if they've been in a car crash. Nicole has, so, and I have. So with the two of us, that means 10 people have been victims of identity theft. About 1.4 million people report identity theft each year. And a lot of people don't even know it, that they have it, or they don't report it. On average, it can take, in 2017, Equifax was breached. If you've ever taken a loan out on a car or had a mortgage, opened a credit card, you were part of that breach. So one of the things that they did back then was they offered credit reports for everybody. In 2023 alone, there was $10 billion reported in cash fraud. And it can take, on average, 13 months to get this cleared up. We'll get into some more exciting stuff here in a second, don't worry. But it's on average 330 hours to repair your identity. That's not just you working on it, but that's multiple people over different bureaus and police work, all that stuff, trying to repair your identity for you. So we're going to get into some ways to try to help stop or prevent your identity from being stolen. These phrases, phishing, vishing, and smishing, they're all the same thing over different types of media. Phishing is over email. Vishing is voice phishing, which would be over the phone, or smishing, which is text message phishing. I don't know if you guys have heard about a company called Upshur Smith. They were based out of Maple Grove, I think. Well, back in 2013, I think this was. Their CEO went over to a conference in China, and they had their CFO back in the office, and he received an email from what was supposedly the CEO's personal email. It just said, hey, I'm at this conference and have a prospective deal on this new drug that isn't even in the US yet. I need you to wire me $7 million to close this deal. I'll talk to you about the details when I get back. Well, he wired the money to that person and only later found out that it was not from his CEO. He ended up losing his job over it. And I mean, that's a lot of money to try to recover in a company. One thing that happened with that was the interaction created a sense of urgency. It said, hey, I need to get this locked down now. That's what a lot of these emails will do. So they're going to create a vague vague story trying to tell you. It's going to make it sound like you're going to get a lot of money. They're trying to give you as little information. They're trying to get you to give them as much money as possible. And one thing that we can learn is how to, when you receive an email, is to hover over the link. So like this link here, right now it looks like it's going to facebook.com. But if you hover over it, you can see that it actually says it's going to www.iwantyourpassword.com. So that's one of the best ways in emails to really find out if the link is legitimate. And they're going to try to fool you. They're going to give you multiple different reasons to make it look like it is a legitimate site. Out of these three links, two of them could be legitimate sites. One of them is an imposter. Which one do you guys think it is? You can answer in chat if you want. Which one's the imposter? All right, if you don't have a guess, the imposter is B. And the reason for this is what comes before the .com. So you'll see a lot of different ones like this. You'll see .com, you'll see .gov, .org, all of those. What comes before it is the important part. So this is the part you need to focus on, is support.com. That's not a site I know. I want to get support from amazon.com. This one is legitimate too because it's amazon.com. The support comes afterwards. So as long as right before the .com is Amazon or whatever site that you're trying to access, that's how you can tell that it's legitimate. The ones that have amazon.support.com or facebook.support.com, stuff like that, those ones aren't from the actual companies, but they try to make it look like they are. So how can identity theft work? One of the many ways is still by dumpster diving. You can learn a lot about somebody just by digging through their garbage. If I find baby food jars and diapers in your garbage can, I can guess that you have a baby. And you probably have one of those new wireless baby monitors. And people with babies, they're a little sleep deprived. They probably didn't set up a password on that wireless monitor, meaning I have easier access to try to hack into it. If I hack into that, what else could I do? Well, I could watch and learn your habits in the house. I could learn your routines to see when you're usually out of the house, when the baby sleeps, when you're, too busy to try to make it either call. I could call with a scam. I could just rob your house if I know that you're not home. So that's one way. Another thing that you can get from dumpster diving is people who just throw credit card offers away. I could take one of those credit card offers and I could open up the credit card in your name. Now, I'm going to have to watch your mail for that credit card to come, but that's easy enough by, again, watching your house and learning routines. I can see when your mail comes. I can see if you get it right away, usually. So I'm going to be watching for that credit card to come in the mail. And once I get it, I'm going to start using it. And after that, I'm going to, once I rack up quite a bill, I'm going to watch for a little flag on your mailbox to go up. Because what most people send out in their mailbox are either bills or birthday cards. So when that flag is up, more than likely, I'm going to be able to find something good. So if I take one of your bills, I can take a check out of your bill that you were mailing to Verizon. Well, I can erase who that bill was going to via check washing and change it instead to that credit card company I opened in your name. Now I've made the first payment on that credit card, making it harder for you to dispute that that credit card was opened in your name and that you didn't open it yourself. Do you follow any questions on that? If I'm talking too fast, let me know. I'm trying to get through a lot of information here. Another thing is when you lose your purse or wallet. If you don't know everything that's in your wallet, every single card that you need to call, or the driver's license number, any of that, it makes it harder for you to get something squared away. So one of the first things as a thief, you're going to go to a store probably. But I'm not going to go to a big box store, buy a big TV. Instead, I'm going to make it look like I'm just going to use your card at the gas station for like 20 bucks. Make it look like something you purchased. That way it doesn't look like you like fraud that will alert you to that I have your ID or your debit card. So one thing you can do is make sure you have all your credit card numbers and the numbers to call written down somewhere and keep that in a safe deposit box on a USB drive, something like that. That's one way to make sure that that information stays safe and that you have it somewhere if you need it. This is something that I usually have a video playing, and I removed it for this, so I'm going to skip over that because it kind of tied into what I just said. Skimmers. These are the devices that you see at gas stations or ATMs that you swipe your card and it looks legitimate to you. And it should be. Most of them are. A lot of them have tape over them saying when they were last maintenance or secured. Well, one thing you can do is when you go up, I do this anytime I go up to a gas pump, I just wiggle it because they're not on there very hard. They're just being held on by a little bit of glue. And you wiggle that thing, and if it comes off, there was a skimmer on there that was stealing in card information. And all this does is sends the card information to somebody's phone account that they have set up somewhere. Wherever they have it set up, that's not traceable. Sends all that information to them that way. And it's very easy for somebody to place one of these on there. If you watch this video, so usually what they do is they have one guy distract him. See, that guy pulled the cashier away over that way. And this guy is distracting this cashier. So it's a three-man operation with this one. So now he's got that cashier moved away, and that guy just popped that right on there. So it doesn't take them long to do it. The other ones that you have to be cautious about are the new like contactless chips and stuff like that. They're more secure, I will assure you of that. Using tap to pay is more secure, but it also comes with its own risks. And I'll show you how easy it is for somebody to take that
We're at
from
number
you
10
right
on
here.
our list of ID scams. It's something called RFID theft, which I'd never heard about. Where's Nate? Hey, Nate, how are you? Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. You just turned beet red? Here, stand on up. Stand up. So I want to show you some video that we recorded while you were waiting in line for the show, talking to our producer. Do you see the guy in the black shirt behind you hovering around you? Did you notice him at all?
No, I didn't. No, I did not.
Okay, it's the black shirt. It blends in. His name is Walt Augustinowicz. He's here. Walt, how are you?
How
nice
you
to meet
doing?
you.
Nice
How's it
to meet
going?
you, Anderson.
So, what'd you do to Nate?
Well, Nate, unfortunately, I have your credit card number, your expiration date, everything I need to make a purchase.
But you didn't steal his wallet or anything.
No, actually, all I did was actually used something just like this, and I just placed this near his wallet, and his credit card actually transmitted the information to me.
So can you show him this?
And this is actually your full 16-digit account number and
Is
your
that correct?
expiration date.
That's correct.
And that's your MasterCard.
So you didn't have to touch him or anything. What is in this thing?
Basically, this is the same thing that you've seen in the cabs around here at a lot of registers where you just wave to pay. We just did the same thing with the battery and just told it to transmit to a cell
So you
phone.
can just walk by somebody, anybody. How long do you have to hover around them?
It takes between a half and 1 second to read the credit
kidding.
card data.
So that could be something as small as this in the person's hand. They could just be standing next to you at a bus station or in line at Wendy's, and they scan it next to your purse or your wallet, and they'd be able to gain your card information. They do make special wallets and purses that can block this stuff. They're called RFID blocking wallets. I know Ridge Wallet is one of the big name companies that does it. They're pretty new, but they are nice. But while it's scary, at the same time, the tap to pay is more secure because it doesn't send across your card information to the store exactly as it is. It'll actually give the store a completely different card number than what shows on your card. So that way, if the store is hacked, your information isn't present there, that they could reuse your card. This is what one of those wallets can look like. You can get, Bridge wallets are a little bit more expensive, but otherwise, some of them you can get for like 20 bucks on Amazon. They make purses too, and all it is it has some sort of lining is what blocks it. And I know, well, I got my driver's license renewed. I know that came with, and some of the credit card companies are doing it too. It comes with a little sleeve that you could keep the cards in also. So what can you do to protect yourself from this stuff? Well, there's new ways to detect out of the ordinary purchases. You can set up alerts on your cell phone to send text. I know we offer it. There's plenty of other companies that offer it also. Where any purchase made, I have mine set up to anything over $1. Anything that's purchased, I'm alerted to it on my phone through a text. That way, if something comes through that I didn't purchase, I know to, start something going and then report my card stolen. Get the RFID blocking wallets purses. That's a big step in this up and coming world of technology. I would say that's probably the biggest one. Shred anything with your information. If it's shred, then I can't take it to make a credit card of yours. Even if it's just a credit card offer that doesn't show anything. If it has just your name on the envelope and a card offer, I can go and get it set up. Rather than put your flag up on your mailbox, try to use the U.S. Postal Service, or even better, pay your bills online. A lot of people think that paying things online is less secure, but as long as it's the right site that you go to, I should rephrase that. As long as it's the way that you get to the site normally and the one that you trust, it's safe to do. A lot of the time when you say do a search for something and it comes up, you'll see the first ones are sponsored. Well, anybody can put a sponsored site in a Google search. They just have to pay the right amount. And it'll make it look like the right site, but it's not always. Always scroll down to make sure that you're going to the correct site for your the company that you're trying to work with. If you don't receive your bill, call the company. Say you don't receive your credit card bill when you normally do or should. Give them a call. Say, hey, I think my bill was stolen. Did you guys send it? Are you having issues? Something like that. It could be, something on their end and nobody actually took your bill. But better to call and make sure that it's nothing nefarious. One thing you can do if you don't already have it set up is you can sign up for something through the post office called informed mail. And that is what it does is the post office takes pictures of your mail, what's coming to your house that day, and it'll send you an email to let you know what's coming. That way, if you don't see something in your mailbox that was supposed to be there, you know that it may have been stolen or lost, that you could then give somebody a call, try to track it down. Make sure you have antivirus installed on your computer. This is a big one because a lot of the time you'll go to a site and sometimes it's a virus, sometimes it's just a pop-up it's called scareware. And what it'll do is it'll show Microsoft Microsoft detected an issue with your account. Call this number, blah, blah, blah. And then you'll call that number and they'll ask you to have a technician remote into your computer. Well, that technician isn't actually with Microsoft, and what they're doing is they're locking down your files so that they can try to get more money from you. And they'll actually ask you for your credit card in the process. That way you can pay for the service of them fixing your computer, even though they're not fixing it. It's actually happened to my mother-in-law, and we had to lock her credit card down right away. We'll get into passwords a little bit later, but the more difficult you make it, the better. And I'll talk about ways that you can do that and make them memorable at the same time. Don't give out your information unnecessarily. Your bank or Medicare, any of them are not going to be asking for your account number or your social security number. We know that already. We might ask for the last 4 of it to verify, but we won't ask for the full thing. Again, same with the credit card numbers. Don't give out your 16-digit credit card number if they're asking for it. When you're paying online, look for that S in the website. I don't know if I have it here. Right here. So you can see the S in this Amazon link. That means the site is secure. So that means that they had to pay for extra security on their site. Social media presence. If you have a Facebook account or Instagram, any of that, be cautious of what you post online. If you go on vacation, don't post during or before the vacation about how excited you are to go or how happy you are to be there. What that tells me, or anybody else that can see your site, is your house is empty right now, and it makes it a target. So only post pictures or talk about vacations, stuff like that, after the vacation. Another thing is don't have, I guess this is one more I talked with the kids about, don't show pictures of everything in your bedroom, especially for the kids, because I mean, if you have a sports team on your wall or posters of your favorite band, somebody might be able to use those and try to figure out what your password could be. Because people use things they love as their password to make it memorable. We talked about this a little bit. Know all your account information, contact information, keep it in a safe deposit box or a USB. You can do that with your passwords too. If you write down your passwords in something, don't keep it right next to your desk, because if somebody breaks in, now they have access to all your banking information. But you could keep that password, that password book in, say, even just a safe in your house. You could keep it in there. You could put all that information in an Excel file on a USB zip drive, anything like that, just somewhere where it's not easily accessible for somebody. But at the same time, you want to make sure that if something were to happen to you and your spouse or your children would need access to any of this, they have access to it that way too. Most importantly, just use common sense. If it looks too good to be true, more than likely it is. Next, we're going to talk about some more scams that we can kind of see out in the wild here. Insurance scams. Scammers will call saying they need more information to process your claim. Or they might say that they're from Medicare and that they're issuing new cards and they need to update your profile. Well, more than likely, these are scams. And I was looking on the FTC website today, and they said that it says the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services and Social Security administrators will not call you to update information or issue new cards. So that's one thing. If you do receive these calls, just know that they're scams. A lot of the time, what they're trying to do is they're trying to gain your insurance card to either commit insurance fraud or just steal any information that they might get from you if they ask for your social security number, stuff like that. Another common one is grandparent scams. You've probably heard about these where a child will call from, or somebody will call impersonating a grandchild, and they'll say that they're in trouble and they need you to wire them money, get them out of jail, something like that. A lot of the time, you can sidetrack these or debunk them by asking questions only your family members would know. Or never provide information that would also give them more. They're going to try to be vague. They're just going to say, hey, it's me, it's your grandson. Well, which one? Well, your oldest one, and they're trying to, get you to tell them what the name of your grandchild is, so that way they can impersonate it more. They might call back again another time. Romance scams. These ones are very common. The scammer will usually pretend to be romantically interested in someone. There's a lot of people out there that they're lonely, they're vulnerable, they just want somebody to talk to. And what happens the scammer will gain your trust, and once they have your trust, they'll, really talk about how they want to meet up, but I don't have enough money. And they probably they'll say that they live far away, they live across the country. So then they're trying to get you to give them money to come visit, but they'll never actually come visit. So that's another one to be wary of. A lot of the time, it's very hard to talk somebody out of one of these scams too, because they get their emotions into it and they don't want to admit that this person isn't real. Cryptocurrency scams. There's lots of these out there. These ones, you can have people impersonating cryptocurrency exchanges. So where you would go to buy cryptocurrency, they'll try to give you promotions saying, hey, this is, buy this crypto while it's at the bottom. They'll show giveaways that are too good to be true, saying, they'll even have profiles of well-known companies or public figures. Let's see. Publishers Clearinghouse. That's the next one. So reading up on this a little bit more recently, I learned that Publishers Clearinghouse will never call, email, or message you about major winnings or contact you in advance. Instead, they'll notify you just by their prize patrol, unannounced and live. They never give the person notice ahead of time. The only way that they will, if they're not in person, is they may notify winners by certified or express letter. So that's the only way that they would actually do it, not in person. The sweepstakes are free to enter and win, but just be cautious. If you're asked to pay for your prize to claim your prize, it's too good to be true. You didn't actually win. And the only information that Publishers Clearinghouse will ask you for is your name, address, and email and date of birth, just to verify your eligibility. They won't ask for any cards, nothing of that. This is another one that's out there a lot right now, is bogus job offers or housing offers. Scammers will take housing offers. They'll take recently listed houses that were on the market, and then they'll create their own listing for it and say that it's for rent. And they'll do all this application fee to get you to, put your application in. They'll do this, if they get 10 people to do a $50 application fee, that's $500. And all they had to do was list a house. And when they say, yeah, you got it, and, meet me at the house for the keys, you're going to end up being very surprised that somebody actually owns the house. Job offers, there's a lot of these going around too. People have online interviews. They only talk over the phone, and what ends up happening is they'll pay to have a security check done on them or a credit check. And again, if a scammer gets even just 10 people to do this for $30, that's $300 that they just made. They don't have to get a lot of people to take the scam, but they do it to enough people that they're going to get some. So here's some tips to try to avoid this. If someone calls asking for personal information, don't provide it. Unless you actually know who it's from, I advise people that if your credit card company or bank or credit union, whoever, calls you and says, hey, we're seeing an issue with your card, can you tell us what the card number is to verify that we're seeing the right card? In those instances, I tell them, hey, I'm busy right now, and I hang up and call my actual financial institution and ask them, hey, were you just calling me about this? So I call the numbers I know and the people I trust, not just allow somebody to call me. It's a good way to keep yourself safe. Set up a safety word or phrase for family members if you want to use it for identity. I heard this for people with kids when, say, they have somebody that's going to pick up, they have a friend that's going to pick up their kids. They give their kids a safety word beforehand to say, if that person is going to pick up the kid asks, what's my safety word? And if the person actually knows the safety word, then they know that their parent actually sent them. And it could be for over the phone for family members also. If you don't talk to somebody very often, but you want to make sure it's them when you do talk to them, just set up a phrase or, a place that your family went on vacation a lot as a kid, stuff like that. Never send someone money expecting money in return. You're never going to have to give somebody $200 to make $2,000 unless it's an actual investment. And even then, I wouldn't do it over the phone or online unless I actually know it's a reputable company. I've seen this myself where you go on Facebook Marketplace, you're trying to sell something or buy something, and somebody wants you to Venmo them the money or send it through PayPal or Cash App. And if what I usually do is say, well, I'm only taking cash, or I'm only offering to pay in cash. It's a good way to weed out the ones that are scammers on those sites. And because most of the time they're going to say, well, I'm not able to do that, because they want you to pay them then beforehand. They'll say that they're sending their sister and that they're not able to make it themselves. So that they want, but I just say, I'll pay in cash. I'll give your sister the cash then. So it's just finding ways to trick them yourself. Other things you should do is keep an eye on your credit report, and monitor your online accounts. You can monitor your online accounts. There's many places offer online banking now where you can go in, you can check your accounts, you can check your credit card statements right then and there. You don't have to wait for your statement to come every month. It's real time and it shows everything that you've purchased that day. Set up credit and debit card alerts. Like I was saying earlier, I just set it up to anything over $1 to send you an alert to your phone or your email. It might get annoying, but at the same time, it's going to keep you safe. Use online bill payments. That's probably the safest way over sending a check anymore. Not a lot of people use checks, and they're easy to spoof. Monitor your credit score. There is a site, I thought I had a link for it, I don't have it on here, but it is, Nicole, maybe you can help me. Is it freecreditreport.com?
Annual credit report.
Annualcreditreport.com.
Yep. Free site, and it used to be about a year ago, you could only check it once a year, but because of the fraud, they have opened it up now. People can check their credit reports once a week. So if it's something that you're looking, I mean, I don't know if that's necessary, but looking at it once a month or maybe once every other month is a good thing.
Thank you. So yeah, keep an eye on that. We offer Savvy Money within our online banking app that it'll update it every month, or when it'll even alert you when there's a hit on your credit score. If fraud does happen to you, there are places you can report it. Report it to your financial institution, let the police know, report it to the credit bureaus. Don't be ashamed or embarrassed that it happened to you, because it's happening to everybody. And it's just not something that we can really stop, because they're always going to find a new way to get around it. The best thing you can do is just keep yourself educated and use common sense. All right, we're going to get into passwords. So passwords are a big deal because your whole world is pretty much controlled by passwords now. And it's very hard to remember a password if you have to create it for many different sites. Nowadays, they say to use at least a minimum of 12 characters long. It used to be 8. Well, 12 is the new 8. They tell you to use all the complexity rules, use the numbers, use lowercase, uppercase, and symbols. I like to pick themes or phrases for mine. It helps me remember. I actually will use songs. I'll just take a song, and each lyric of the song creates my new password. A lot of passwords, you can use spaces in them too, and that makes it harder for somebody to get your password. Avoid social engineered passwords. Kids' names, anniversaries, spouse names, pets, hobbies, all that stuff are too easy to guess nowadays. Everybody has everything online, or they, I mean, not everything is a stranger trying to scam you either. There's people you might trust that have access to your home that might try to scam you. And the hardest thing is use different passwords for everything. This is where I know a lot of people have the hardest time. If you can, there's a lot of password vaults online that you can use to store your passwords. Some of them are free. Some of them you have to pay for, but I would recommend getting one. Some of the different ones are, we use Keeper, there's KeePass, there's LastPass, there's a lot of different ones, but I would recommend getting one of those and look into them. Make sure that they're going to be a reputable one, because you could even find sites that they don't want, or they don't use enough security, or they're trying to steal your passwords themselves. I'm going to give you a couple phrases to guess, try to guess these passwords. This one is from Shakespeare, to be or not to be. This one, a lot of the kids like. You get the star in there for Stark. Fe is the chemical symbol for iron. Get creative. Have fun with them. This chart shows how easily somebody can brute force a password. So what I mean by brute force is they're trying many different combinations of your password at once, or in a certain amount of time. And a lot of people say, well, I get locked out of my account after 3 tries, so why should I have to worry about it? Well, they're not trying to access it through the same way that you do. They're accessing it through the back end. They're trying it through different commands and everything like that, and it bypasses that 3 times and you're locked out security. So if you look here at a 12-character password that utilizes upper lowercase numbers symbols, it'll take them 8 months to hack that. Now, this is changing every year. Just from 22 to 23, you can see it went from 5 months to hack it, 12 characters, 3,000 years for a 12-character password, down to 8 months. They're getting, and this is after ChatGPT. A lot of the AI prompts, it actually made things easier for hackers to try to gain passwords. And I had another slide. Maybe I don't. You can try to be really safe, though, by trying these ideas to keep your password safe. Don't even let them see you type it. Or make sure they can't even see where you're looking at when you're typing it. But to be really, really safe, just hide yourself. All right. We're down to the question section part of this. Does anybody have any questions out there?
So a couple questions that have come in, and just to remind everybody, if you have another question, feel free to put it into the chat, and I can read that off and we'll have Rick answer it for us. But one that has come in is in regards to how to clean your tech devices before disposing of them, and how to keep them safe from fraudsters, hackers, if you're trying to dispose a old computer.
Sure. One of the easiest ways to wipe it is to go through a Windows reset and pretty much wipe it to factory defaults. It's fairly easy to get to it. All you have to do is hold down Shift the shift key on your keyboard and click restart. It'll bring you into the special options, and one of those options in there is to reset your device. So again, that's holding down the shift key, and then while holding it down, pressing restart. It'll bring up a menu option. So that's the best way to wipe it. Otherwise, I know Best Buy used to offer recycling, where you could bring your devices in there and they would wipe them for you. We just started this year with other credit unions in the area, a recycling drive that we'll probably do again next spring, where you can bring your stuff to us and we will send it to a facility that will wipe the devices securely, and they all repurpose them afterwards to give to people who might struggle to get to be able to purchase it, say students in school and stuff like that. So it's a great program.
And that's in the Brainerd area, correct, Rick?
Yes, they do have a location in Brainerd. They're based out of the cities, and most of the devices go down there, and then they'll make their way back up here.
But for the drive that we have is located in the Brainerd area, just so everybody.
Yes. Oh yeah, the drive.
Everybody's located. So
yeah,
perfect. All right. Another question that came in is: an RFID sleeve sufficient, or does it need to be a wallet?
No, the sleeve is fine. If it comes with the credit card, that sleeve is just fine to use.
Perfect. And in the chat, we did put annualcreditreport.com. So if anybody's looking for that website to check your credit reports, that is a safe and secure website. So that is one that we do promote. It is free of charge. So they do not ask for a credit card or a debit card number or anything like that as well. Let's see here. I don't see any other new questions that have come through. Let me look through some of the ones that, as far as from when people registered here, I think we might have answered most of them. I guess the one that I would just like to reiterate is what steps to take to prevent fraud and what to do if you suspect fraud has happened. Do you want to recover that again, Rick? Just to kind of, sometimes we don't even know that it's happening until it's happened. And granted, we want everybody to be as informed as possible, but if that does happen, again, what are your suggestions on that?
I mean, my biggest suggestion, because I mean, there's so many different ways people can use fraud nowadays, that it would just be to suspect everybody. Any call you get, suspect that, hey, this person might not be legitimate. What's really sad is with new technologies like AI, they're even able to copy your voice just by, if you let it go to voicemail, and you have, yourself talking. I recommend to people to use the robotic one that comes with your phone. Don't even and it's so hard to do because, if you answer it and you say, I've heard of the ones where even if you just say yes to something, they might get you in a contract for something else. And it's really hard not to say or use some form of confirmation when they call you and ask you even a simple question. I would suggest the way would be to, when they ask you questions, you start asking your own questions. Ask them, well, who are you with? Where are you based out of? Throw questions back at them, because that will usually set them off track. As far as what to do if you suspect fraud, contact the police. A lot of the time, if they've heard that when people report it, and if they get enough people, they will actually put out an alert in the community, letting others know that, hey, we're seeing this scam a lot. Please be aware of it. So there's not a lot to do once your information is out there besides, say, freeze your credit cards, stuff like that, if you know that, if you think that's what they took. If they have your social security number, I would just recommend keeping an eye on your credit report. Looking at this new question. How do I stop text stating they are getting back to me about old loans or school debt, or I have old taxes not paid? This is another tough one. You can report them as junk in your phone. A lot of the phones will offer that now. Sometimes you can text back, stop, and you'll get a message back. Now, I have a problem with this too, because by replying to them, that lets them know that this is a valid number, and they can use that information then to sell your number to somebody else if it's a scammer. So that's why I recommend just reporting it as junk and ignoring it. Other than getting a new phone number, which that's a pain too, because my wife got a new phone number and the person that had it last, the number last, had so much spam stuff coming to them that it was driving her crazy. So even getting a new number isn't a good solution. I think you can contact your phone company and they might be able to do something. I remember reading about that, but I can't remember exactly what happened.
You can also block the number, correct?
You can, but they use different numbers sometimes.
I would say in that instance to either delete it, block it, and then I would also pull your credit report to see if by chance there are some things that are out there that are maybe from a long time ago. You know, it might be a legitimate company too. You never know, but you could at least block it from text messages or delete it. And then you can contact those businesses individually once you pull your credit report and say, oh yeah, it's an old Charter bill. I could contact Charter directly, and then I know for sure I'm talking to Charter. I don't know who I'm responding back to through a text.
Yeah, I see you responded that you're getting repeatedly blocked and deleted. I would contact your phone company, see if there's anything that they're able to do as far as, I think it's, what is it now that they do? There's a way for them to kind of screen what gets sent through to you.
Great question. That is all of the questions that I'm seeing right now, Rick. So we're at 5:53, so we could probably end a little bit early, give everybody their evening back here. What I would suggest is that if by chance anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to Min Minnesota, whether you are a member, if you are not a member, we're here to help our communities. We all know that these things are going on within our communities, and we're trying to prevent this as much as possible. So feel free to reach out to us with any questions, anything that we can help with, and we can kind of maybe work more on an individual basis as well.
All right.
So
everybody
Rick,
have a great evening.
Thank you, Rick, so much for doing this. We appreciate it, and everybody have a fantastic evening.